A month like this just last year, on May 20th, Jambi Koikai made what to be a final post on Instagram. In it, she addressed the President William Ruto directly, calling for better healthcare access, especially for women in Kenya suffering silently from endometriosis. 2 weeks later, she passed away at Nairobi Hospital due to complications linked to that very disease. Even today, when you mention endometriosis, most people still don't fully understand it. But for many in Kenya, the first time they even heard of it was through Jahmby Koikai. She made this invisible illness visible by creating awareness and advocating for better healthcare services. But Jambi was more than just an activist. To some, she was a radio and television host. To reggae fans across the country, she was Fire Mama Jambi, the baddest reggae MC in the game, and no debate. In fact, she is the best female MC Kenya has ever seen. Today, we're not here just to talk about her final moments. We're here to honor her legacy, to celebrate the life she lived so loudly, and to tell the painful truth of a disease that many doctors once believed that black women couldn't get, quickly ended her life. The year was 1996 and a new radio station was started in Kenya. Its goal was to capture the young people and entertain them. So it played a lot of music. In fact, its tagline was "The power is in the music." Personally, I wasn't there to experience it firsthand, but from what I've gathered online from those who were there, it was very powerful and had powerful presenters like Tony Msalame, Dan Olo, Bill Odidi, and many others. This station was called Metro FM. Then around 2005, the station was rebranded as a 24-hour reggae station. And this is why I got lucky, because I listened to Metro FM. And to me, this was the best version of Metro FM. In fact, I believe that most people today remember that version. But maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, the new Metro FM was different, very different. It became the first radio station in Kenya to play reggae music 24 hours a day, just imagine. There were no breaks, just pure, unfiltered reggae from Monday to Monday. It is officially an English station, but the presenters would occasionally drop some Kiswahili or Sheng. And if I remember correctly, the motto was something like House of Reggae or House of Pure Niceness 24/7. If you're lucky enough to listen to Metro FM back then, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Metro FM wasn't just playing reggae, it was like baptizing people into the reggae lifestyle. The vibes were, as reggae people would say, more fire, and the presenters were also fire, like Jeff Mwangemi and DJ Stano. But one presenter stood out, not just because of how she sounded, but because of the energy she brought every single time. Her name was Jambi Koikai, but to everyone who loved reggae, she was simply Fire Mama Jambi. Now let's be clear, this was in the mid-2000s. Reggae in Kenya was a boys' thing. Most people expected women to stick to love songs or those soft-spoken lifestyle shows, you know them. But not Jambi. She was a big fan of reggae music and the Rasta culture. She knew the songs, she knew the artists, and she even called out injustices in the society. She was the real ghetto defender. And through all that, Jambi built a movement, or as she called the fans, wale wa nyanya, wale wa tomato. She gave reggae the respect it deserved and gave women the voice they were missing, and we'll talk about it later in this video. But what many people don't know is that Jambi got a job at Metro FM because of a scream. Yes, screaming nduru. Back in the early 2000s, a young Jambi was just an intern at KBC, or the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. She wasn't famous. She wasn't even a radio host yet. Then in April 2008, something happened. A popular Jamaican reggae artist named Turbulence, best known for his hit song Real Warrior, came to Kenya to perform at the Peace Concert. We were scheduled for a live breakfast interview at Metro FM, which was part of KBC. And guess who was in the building? Jambi. She was so excited to meet Turbulence that she screamed live on air. What could have ended an internship actually launched a career.
Mimi kugofa nikacheki Turbulence na kumbe tuko on air. Nikapiga nduru.
On air?
Mazee niko tu zile za. What? Oh, what?
Sabina Chege, the then boss of all the 18 KBC stations, didn't fire her. She hired Jambi. Now, you may ask, why was she hired? Because Sabina saw something in Jambi. Jambi had the energy, the passion, and the voice needed to work on the radio. And also, reggae at that time didn't have a lot of female presenters.
Kukua female MC Kenya imekuwa ni tafa sana. Mimi nilianzaga maidha zenye kukuaga na madem, hakukuaga na waruru, kulikuwa tu na mamuri unashika, alafu kuna mtu alikuwa ananigigi chance. So mimi nilikuwa ni fanya mama kiingia pale lazima ajiprove. So lazima nilikuwa mauru mbaya. Nilikuwa nikishikaga mic hivi wananitambua. So ilibidi nimefaitia space ya miala. Unaona nikaifaitia na nikai-own na haijakuwa rahisi, but hivyo mimi nimengangana.
Jambi joined the Metro FM breakfast team alongside Bill Odidi. From there, she climbed the ranks, hosting her own drive time show and the Club Metro Weekend Show. That's when she officially became Fire Mama. And why was Jambi Koikai so obsessed with reggae? It's very unusual, to find a woman who likes reggae or who understood reggae the way Jambi did. In fact, instead of growing up idolizing people like Beyonce, she grew up idolizing reggae MCs like King Lion Sounds and Shashamane, just imagine, never knowing that she would one day become one of them. In this interview back in 2021 with Abel Mutua, she said that her uncle introduced her to reggae. He even paid for her to attend DJ classes at Black Supremacy Sound, but instead of becoming a DJ, she ended up behind the mic as an MC.
So brother ya mother mless, alikuwa mrasta kuruka, but jamaa moja genius sana. Sahi ni mechanical engineer, but alikuwa mdeadly. Alikuwa anapenda reggae sana, alikuwa anapenda muziki sana. So alikuwa kujaga na matips za culture. Anakamna hizo marege. The mighty culture. Bas. Mimi hata kabla nijue Bob Marley nijuaga culture. So unakama unapata hizo matips zinakuwa mtaani, anasikizaga tu matip. So hata nikiwa mtu yeye alikuwa ananiambia, "Hebu sikiza hii. Hebu imba kama huyu jamaa." So nikaanzaga, "Everywhere she see she want money."
Now, people have this stereotype. People often assume that reggae lovers or people who love reggae, the Rasta people, are sufferers or even uneducated. But Jambi's story is somewhat different. Yes, she came from a place of suffering, Kawangware, but she was educated. Jambi was born and raised in Kawangware 46, a rough Nairobi neighborhood, and was raised by a single mother and a grandmother. They didn't have much. Growing up in Kawangware, Jambi experienced firsthand the harsh living conditions that many Kenyans still face today. Poor infrastructure, little to no access to basic amenities, insecure neighborhoods, and a broken healthcare system.
Born and raised in Ungwaro, 46. That's my shags. Was born and raised by a single mother, single grandmother. The two of them, raised us together. And I guess we didn't have much, but we had happiness.
Jambi attended some of the top schools in the country, St. Anna's School and McKinney School for primary education. She went through several high schools before finishing at St. Christopher's International School in Karen. And according to Jambi, her family sacrificed a lot to pay for education, hoping that it will be a ticket out of poverty, and it was. After high school, she joined Daystar University and graduated in 2008. At the same time, she was also studying French at Alliance Francaise, where she met the members of Sauti Sol, and just imagine, she became the group first manager from 2006 all the way to 2008. Her academic journey wasn't that smooth. In 2009, she dropped out of USIU due to health challenges, but she completed her education and finally graduated in 2016. Now, let's rewind a little bit. While still at Daystar University, Jambi was an intern at the KBC reporter's desk. Around the same time is when she landed a job at the now dead Metro FM. So what happened to Metro FM? Why did Metro FM die? Who killed Metro FM? Now, in 2011, when Walter Mongare or Nyambane worked as the group head of radio services at KBC, he decided to shut down Metro FM on 1.9 and he gave the frequency to a feminine or an all-lady station, which he named Venus FM, and it went nowhere. Anyway, for reggae fans across the country, the end of Metro FM was sad. It was heartbreaking, even today I guess. And on 29th of November 2022, Jambi made this post on Facebook explaining what actually happened to Metro FM. For those who have always asked me what happened to Metro FM, 11 years ago today, one of my former radio bosses called us for a meeting. First thing he asked was, who is reading the 4 p.m. news today? I responded that I'd be reading the radio news. Then he asked me to announce that Metro FM would be no more with no explanation. I asked questions, we argued, we disagreed, and I made the announcement. In true Fire Mama fashion, I ended the reigns of Metro FM with Lucky Dube's Nobody Can Stop Reggae. I held meetings with the board countless times to get the station reinstated, spent countless days presenting files to the Ministry of Information, was called in by the then permanent secretary and asked to tone it down. Anyway, it took a long time for me to heal from Metro FM's closure. 11 years on, so much things to say right now, but still, reggae strong. And yes, reggae is strong because even after Metro FM was shut down, Jambi didn't stop. She joined QFM, where she hosted a reggae show called Mizizi Mix. But once again, just like Metro FM, QFM was shut down. Still, she didn't quit. She ventured out as a full-time reggae entertainer or MC, securing gigs in clubs, festivals, and even events all over the country. Jambi was very energetic. She knew how to control the crowd. She knew how to speak to the crowd. Her voice, her stage presence, and her vibe was unmatched. And if you didn't know, by the way, Jambi was also an artist. She organized and performed in a couple of reggae shows. Her band was known as Earth Zone.
I woke up this morning with no bread on my table.
But behind that powerful stage presence was a body fighting to survive. Now, from the first day she got a period in high school, Jambi experienced unbearable pain. But no one, not even her own family, understood what was wrong. They thought it was just bad cramps, but it wasn't. It was endometriosis, a brutal, misunderstood disease where tissue from the uterus grows outside of it. It can attach to the lungs, the bowels, or even the eyes.
So what happens with endometriosis, these are cells that grow around the ovaries. And if not checked, these cells could move to other parts of your body. And they could move to other organs of your body. In my case, they moved to my lungs. So every month I'm on my period, these cells bleed into my lungs as well. And so they cause my lungs to collapse.
And although endometriosis isn't classified as fatal, in rare cases, it can lead to serious complications. The symptoms are brutal: severe pain, especially in the lower stomach, heavy periods, and constant fatigue. According to the WHO, 1 in 10 women and girls around the world suffer from endometriosis, and it has no known cure. Doctors can only try to manage the symptoms, but the biggest problem for many women with endometriosis is being misdiagnosed. That means they are given the wrong medication or go through unnecessary surgeries. In Kenya alone, the situation has been even worse. Many doctors didn't even believe that African women could have this disease. That's how bad the awareness was.
In fact, if you look at the history of reproductive healthcare in Africa, it said that gynecologists were taught that endometriosis is not an African woman's disease. It was a Caucasian woman's disease.
Jambi's case was one of the most serious. As she got older, her body developed and the disease got worse. It affected everything: her school life, her relationships, and her career.
And it really robbed me of my school years, my social life. You remember I couldn't hang out.
Yeah.
There was so much stuff I couldn't do.
You missed out on.
Yeah, I missed out on a lot of stuff. It also affected my career.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff you couldn't do.
There was so much I
Because
couldn't
you were
do.
unwell.
Yeah.
And for about 16 years, just imagine, she was misdiagnosed, misunderstood, and not believed. And that disease kept growing to her uterus, her bowels, and even her lungs. She first saw a gynecologist when she was just 15 and was put on birth control at that tender age.
At age of 15, Mom and Mommy decided to take me to the gynecologist. And the gynecologist said, whatever Jambi is going through is very normal, and the pain will go away once she gets a child.
She tried everything: painkillers, herbal medicine, changing her diet, but nothing worked. And in high school, that pain was extreme. She would not attend classes for a whole week every month. The teachers didn't understand. And Jambi didn't want to talk about it because she was shy and kept it to herself. Now, it wasn't until she got to stage 4 that doctors finally understood what was happening. By then, she had already undergone multiple surgeries and would need more. In 2018, she revealed that she suffered from thoracic endometriosis, a rare type where the disease spreads to the lungs, and it is one of the most dangerous forms of the condition. Her health had gotten so bad that she had to travel to the US in 2018 to get help from a specialist hospital. And this disease had spread to her uterus, ovaries, and lungs. Her lungs were in terrible shape, partly because doctors in Kenya didn't handle it properly early on.
Nilifanya surgery mob sana kwa lungs zenye sikuwa nafaa kufanyiwa.
She went to see experts in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was there that she learned that her situation was even more serious than she had thought. The treatment was successful, but it was very expensive. Her hospital bill was around 10 million Kenyan shillings. Thankfully, Kenyans came together and raised the money to save her life. One of the most powerful images of Jambi Koikai is this photo in a hospital bed, her chest covered in bandages and tubes. She posted this photo on Instagram on August 3rd, 2022, and gave a full explanation of how she ended up there. She wasn't ashamed. She didn't hide. Instead, she shared daily updates, almost everything of what was happening in her life. When Jambi first went to the US for the treatment, she thought that she would only be there for 3 days and return to Kenya after a month. But things turned out to be worse than she thought. During surgeries, her right lung kept collapsing. The doctors told her she had a hole in her lung, a hole they couldn't fix because they had already done everything possible. This hole, which eventually healed, was caused by many surgeries she did in Kenya. Now, despite all this, Jambi made a comeback in February 2020, performing at the KICC, and would later reveal that she was performing with 1.5 set of lungs, with the entire half of one of her lungs totally collapsed.
Somebody say more fire. Let me tell you something. I've gone through 21 bloody surgeries. 21. Somebody say Ra. I'm out here standing doing this with 1.5 lungs. And I give thanks to the Most High because when I came out to ask for help, all of you, my people, came and helped Jambi. And I love you all from the bottom of my heart. And when the ghetto is in pain, Fire Mama is in pain because Fire Mama is a real ghetto defender.
After a long break from the media, she also returned to radio. She joined Trace Radio as a presenter, hosting a show called Trace Nadoba alongside the DJ Selector Techniques. Jambi was also part of the panelists on NTV's The Trend Show.
So unaweza pata udem pengine kulikuwa na warnings zilikuwa alikuwa na signs anacheki na signs analenga.
In a short but powerful life, Jambi went through more than 20 surgeries. In 2016, she even recorded a song called Rejection and Pain to share a difficult journey. Her long fight with endometriosis transformed her into a passionate activist. She became the face of the campaign to raise awareness about the importance of early detection and treatment of endometriosis.
And one thing I'd really love to urge our government is to fund research in this country in regards to women's reproductive health. You know, we may sit here as women looking pretty, you know, looking beautiful and appreciating our womanhood, but when it comes to our health, it's not taken seriously.
It's possible that most people in Kenya even got to know of this disease because of Jambi Koikai.
There's so many people who don't even know about endometriosis. Right now, when I came out and started speaking about it, so many women have come on board and they tell me, yo, Jambi, I seriously never thought this was serious.
Now, if you remember last year in May, President Ruto was set to visit the US. It was a state visit. And during that time, Jambi wrote a very emotional appeal asking the president to improve access to healthcare for the millions of Kenyan women silently suffering from endometriosis. And she urged the president to visit endometriosis center in the US that could support those women. That message was sadly her last Instagram post, which was published on May 20th, 2024. And it's unclear if that appeal was ever addressed. Her final days came in June 2024, but before that, she had many plans. Her last major performance was in March 2024 at Meru's Kinoru Stadium. It was a good show and Jambi went all out. First with a live band, then again with a DJ, Selector Techniques. She was even planning a nationwide tour called Jambi at 20 to celebrate her 20 years in the game. She wanted to do it countrywide, starting with Kisumu, Kakamega, Mombasa. Then probably her last show was to be in Nairobi. It was supposed to begin in August last year, but that never happened. In the final days before her death, Jambi was set to headline a show in Kitale, but on her way to catch the flight, she suddenly fell ill. She was rushed to the hospital, then moved from the High Dependency Unit (HDU) to the Intensive Care Unit (ICU) at the Nairobi Hospital. A public call for blood donation was made and Kenyans showed up. But even with that support, her condition kept getting worse. And on Monday, the 3rd of June 2024, Jambi Koikai passed away at Nairobi Hospital. The news shocked the country. The tributes poured in from friends, from the fans, and even international reggae legends like Gramps Morgan of Morgan Heritage and the iconic Burning Spear, showing just how respected and known she was worldwide. A memorial service was held on Thursday, June 13th at Nairobi Chapel, Ngong Road. It was attended by everyone from politicians like Martha Karua and Jimmy Wanjigi to media personalities like Talia Oyando and Larry Madowo. The next day, June 14th, Jambi was laid to rest at Langata Cemetery. Hundreds came to say goodbye, mostly members of the Rasta community. Now, one of the most emotional moments came during a funeral. Her father, Daniel Koikai, stood before the crowd and gave a public apology. He expressed deep regret for not being more present in Jambi's life. He explained how they only truly bonded when she was in high school, which was due to his long work-related absence abroad during her childhood. And through tears, he asked for forgiveness and shared the last message she ever sent him.
And I ask here in public, where I may have not fulfilled my duties as your dad, please forgive me, forgive me, forgive me.
Tragically, Daniel Koikai died on the same day Jambi was buried, June 14th, 2024. It was sad. But in the end, Jambi Koikai's story was more than just music, radio, or even politics. It's about fighting battles most people never see. While her voice was entertaining people on air, her body was fighting pain most couldn't see. And instead of hiding that pain, Jambi spoke out. She made it public. Her voice became a spotlight, not just for endometriosis, but for everyone suffering in silence. Her fire may have faded, but her legacy still burns strong. And it's a call to all of us: don't hide your pain. Face it, fight it, and let your voice be heard.